Am I on? Testing, testing, one, two. Welcome back to the channel, people. KG is here. Day after the Carabao Cup exit, and this is the match preview for the Spurs game. Just going to give my thoughts on the game last night, just very briefly. Nothing too intrusive, but hit a like on the video. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and of course, drop your comments in the live chat if you're here, or drop them in the comments box after. Um, let's have a look. Nathan Palmer just opening up saying the young guns played well. Not fussed about the Carabao Cup, but the FA Cup, yes, please, yeah. I mean, I would have liked to run, but I'll get into my reasons why. And Robert, I'm with you. I truly believe that we can beat Spurs, yeah, and I'll get into that as well. Why I believe that we can beat them. Danny saying smash a like, yeah, please do that. Ilya's here talking about the England squad that's just been announced. Yeah, listen, it's interesting though with the England squad because we did have some representation in the Euros. Does that change anything for you guys, as or are you England fans separately? Because I'm looking at that. There's no Leeds players in this squad. Are any of you taking any more or less of an interest in it? Interested to know. Nate saying only two call ups for the World Cup team so far, which is brilliant in my eyes. Hopefully, the team fully rehab so we can get some good news about Cine here in a month. Well, Nate, see, I look at that a different way and say, why have we only got two players going to the World Cup? That's I look at it in a different way. It kind of says to me that in the Premier League where a lot of your teams should be established internationals, we're the rest of ours. We're the rest of ours. But I hear what you're saying in terms of this season for sure. Karen saying, hi KGB, knocked out the Carabao Cup does not bother me. It's staying in the Prem, which is a priority, right? Yeah, I mean, I'll get into that in just a bit. Let's have a look. Nate, just following on. Also, I'm not an England fan, but how the hell is Tomori not in Dying Cody years? Yeah, it's all mad in it. But the only thing I'll say on the England thing, and for someone like Ivan Tony especially, go where you're appreciated, man. Jamaica want you, Ivan Tony. Go to them. You know what I mean? Jamaica may not have the cachet or the glamour that England does, playing for England does. I know that does factor in some people's thinking, but you'll get more opportunities with Jamaica. And if more players like you turn up for Jamaica, you'll have a better team. That's all I'd say. Tamori being left out is a joke considering some of the centre backs they've named. But is what it is, man. Is what it is. I'm not too I'm not too bothered in terms of what England are doing. Let's have a look. So yeah, I mean, listen, the game last night. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't come on here last night because it wasn't a good game. It was quite a poor game, especially the first half. I mean, bloody. I mean, it was boring. But you know what you're going to get when you're watching a Wolves game in general. I know they got a new manager coming in, but yeah, you know what you're getting with Wolves. It's going to be a tight game. It's going to be, very, dare I say, cagey, and it is what it was. I didn't have too many issues with the starting lineup. I knew that we was going to put out essentially a B team, and that's my thinking as well in terms of progressing. I know some people have said that they're not bothered about not going through, but we put out pretty much a B team yesterday with a sprinkle of first teamers, and I think if we get a couple more favourable ties, and that we saw yesterday what Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea all knocked out. Those players that played yesterday could have gone on to the fourth round and had a favourable time played again. Obviously, if you get drawn against Man City or Liverpool, you'd expect like Adams or Rocker to play. But essentially, we could have played pretty much the same team yesterday in the next round, but it wasn't to be. Some of the performances I picked out, Perkins, very tidy. Sonny Perkins was very, very tidy, created a couple of chances. If you like that stuff, he was doing the defensive work too. But I thought he was really good, and he had to play in a couple of positions yesterday. I thought that he was pretty impressive. Mateo Joseph, I thought was a live wire too. Again, needs a bit more experience in the first team, and again, that's what he could have got if we had got through to the fourth round. I thought it was a bit interesting as well when Greenwood came on for Gerhardt. Gerhardt went off injured. But Greenwood came on, but yet Click and Harrison were both still taking set pieces, which I thought was a bit strange. But what I will say is that the goal conceded, yes, it came from an error from Greenwood. losing the ball, and possibly Robles as well being out of position. But it was nothing that made me go, look at Leeds conceding an easy goal. It wasn't anything like that. It was a good hit by Traore, but yeah, it was disappointing not to at least get it to penalties and see what we could have done in that shootout. But it is what it is, isn't it? I do want a cup run. Angus Kinnear did mention at the start of the year that a cup run would be nice. But obviously he must have meant the FA Cup. So we'll see. Rebecca just saying here, we call for Gelhardt to play, but he's unreliable, very injury prone. Yeah, it looked like another, I don't know what it was. They haven't said yet, have they? But it looked like it was possibly another muscle one. Again, I attribute that to growing pains. I do. I don't think it's anything, chronic or anything like that. It is what it is, though. But we saying this. That's with a few of our players, isn't it? Injuries here and there, but yeah, Gelhardt didn't have a good game for me. I thought he didn't impress last night. But the one that I do want to talk about is Jack Harrison, and I say this as well. Let me just take a sip because my voice is still suffering, as you can tell. Jack Harrison yesterday was given all the opportunity, and you can tell it was a game where he stayed on for the 90 minutes. It was an opportunity for him to try and get himself something out of the game, whether it be a good performance, an assist, a goal, something. And he was woeful yesterday. I mean, really bad. Now, listen, I spotted at least 3 times. I know in my head I saw 3 times Luke Ayling down the right, ready to receive the ball from Jack Harrison. And he didn't get it once. Not one time did Jack look up and pass it over to Luke. Jack either went for a shot that went wide or he misplaced the pass. Like, it was really, really weird. And I'm saying this as well as somebody that likes Jack Harrison. I do. But this has been ongoing since the end of the transfer window. I said in the first few games when he was on fire, I think he may have enjoyed the fact that Rafinha's gone and he's the main man now, but he's been poor, really, really poor as well. And yesterday's game was, I know you shouldn't take too much from cup games, but whoa, that was bad. And I mean the free kick as well. I think everyone knows the free kick I'm talking about. That summed it up for me yesterday. I mean, what was he doing with that? And I see this as well a lot as well. Chronicles here, he has to play on the left if at all. Jack kept coming inside rather than running wide. I do hear that about his strongest point being his left. But when I'm talking about like simple layoffs to Luke Ayling, who was to his right, that's basic football, guys. That's basic football. That's got nothing to do with playing left, right. That's just your awareness on the pitch. And it just seemed like he was trying to do too much. And by trying to do too much, it was just bad. Like, it was really, really bad. Positioning doesn't do nothing like that for you. It doesn't matter if you play left, right, center. That's just basic football awareness. And at the moment, he seems to be lacking. And that's the thing that hurts with the Sinistera injury, because we could move Jack to the bench comfortably and have Sinistera play. This probably calls for Willie Gnonto to start ahead of him. But whoa, yesterday that was alarming for me because he was given the full 90 minutes to do something, and he was very, very poor. Robert saying, get some Strepsils. Yeah, I've seen what it is. I've got some dry stuff on the back of my throat, man. I'm going to keep on applying the honey, but yeah, hopefully it gets better soon. Diggler saying, we should have sold Harrison in the transfer window. I said that to people back then, but got lots of backlash for it. Yeah, you will do, Diggler. I clearly remember me saying that the only way that we sell him is if we get a player of quality or better in his place, which I wasn't confident of at the time. So I said, let's just keep him. But whoa, he's got to come back. And we know Jack is a confidence player. We know this. Something's got to fall for him. Something's got to fall for him soon. Jamie Dodger, tremendous. It was nice to see the young lads and what the future could be like. Mr. KG Harrison looked jaded, lack of confidence, lack of belief. Take your pick. It was all on show. And maybe that was more reason why Greenwood didn't get on the free kicks after, because Harrison was trying to play himself into form. Gabe, shout out to Gabe. Don't want to read too much for the super chat. Thank you, Gabe. Don't want to read too much in, but Jack not celebrating the game winner versus Bournemouth may be something to watch. His form is so poor, maybe he wants out. And Gabe, I often talk about people being blind to certain things. You know, when I've spoke about Bamford before, and if that was another player, and that could be true with me too, with Harrison, because the drop of form does coincide with the transfer window closing. Now, we're not going to know anything until January. He still hasn't signed a new contract here, which means he's not, whether the club have offered him one or he hasn't signed it, there's no commitment there for either way. But we're going to know in January if Newcastle do come back, if that is what has been on his mind, because it very well could be. It very well could be one of those things where he probably thought a move to a promising project like Newcastle was on the cards and it didn't come through, and he's kind of disappointed that he's still here. It could be one of those things, Gabe. I'm not going to say it is, but it could be. Whether we get that kind of money offered to us again, we'll have to wait and see. But it's going to be an interesting story to see what plays out. Because Jack in his head is probably thinking, if I was at Newcastle now, I'd probably be with more of a shout of the England squad, possibly. You know, we've seen Callum Wilson get in there today. I don't know. Got no idea, Gabe. But sometimes coincidences aren't coincidences, are they? Rebecca G, I was impressed by Yoda. Our young players look far more up for it than our senior players. Hence, we should have had a big turnover in the windows. Yeah, Rebecca, you know me. We've been here many times before, haven't we, in terms of getting some of this squad out. But yeah, Yoda for me was very, very good, very assured. Glad to see him back healthy and fit after his operation. And again, he then pushes himself for me into the first team picture more. And that's what I mean by just going to the next round, because you never know who you would have got in the next round at this point. But that would have given people like Perkins and Joseph more game time in the next round. Whereas I think Yoda does have a window in terms of getting into this team, because he can easily slot in at left back or centre back for me, and he would be much more comfortable than what we've seen so far. So yeah, I absolutely agree. Yoda should be in our first team picture more. What he is, he's a modern day player, and that's what we don't have enough of, which is why Somerville, Gnonto, and all these guys look so impressive, because they are modern day players compared to some of the players that we've got from before. Just some more on Harrison here. Diggler saying, honestly, Harrison isn't that good. I do hope Newcastle come back. We need the funds. We certainly do need the funds. And we'll talk about that as well. I saw somebody say the 49ers earlier. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, Ashley Click was very poor too. But yeah, but the thing is, for me, Ashley, I don't expect nothing from Mateus Click. I really don't. And he's another one I would be actively moving in January, like 100%. His time here is being done. It's been done. And it's not like he did anything bad yesterday. I mean, he jogged back. He jogged back when Traore had his free shot in the, from where he took it. But again, he doesn't offer anything on the pitch. He doesn't offer anything on the pitch. So I would actively sell him in January. He's just one of many, though, and we'll obviously talk about that nearer to the time. Jacob just saying defense is lacking right now, but with Strike, Creswell, Yelder as a centre backs coming through, the future is bright. Yeah, I mean, Jacob, the future is definitely bright. We've definitely got some good options there, and that's why we talk about the youngsters that we've got. But I think we need to buy one. I think we need to buy an established centre back to help out. We'll also need to see as well about Robin Koch and see how he's getting on, because he didn't make the Germany squad. He didn't make it. Bela Kotcher did from Southampton, young guy who's just burst onto the scene. He's got in ahead. It's going to be interesting to see how Robin takes that news, because the thing was, the puzzling thing for me in terms of that as well, and I talk about Germany because obviously I watch Germany a lot, is that Robin Koch was getting in when he was out of form, injured a lot in that Germany team. Now he's been pretty okay to good for Leeds United. He hasn't got in. It's crazy how that works sometimes, but yeah, let's have a look. Just carried on with your comments here from the game last night. I thought Ayling looked like someone trying to prove himself. He did. He absolutely did. Listen, I'm one that thinks that he should be gone as well in January, but I think he'll probably go at the end of the season. But And that's another thing for me as well. Drame, I think he probably needs to go out on loan in January too. Because if I don't know if he was injured yesterday, but if he's not playing in that game yesterday, he probably needs to go out on loan in January, then come back when Luke Ayling's gone and be the backup to Rasmus. Because obviously Rasmus will be the first choice, and then probably Drame. But if he's not going to play yesterday, go out on loan. But yeah, Ayling did look like he was trying to prove something yesterday, and that's what you need from those players. That's what they're there for in these kind of games, third round of the Carabao Cup. And I think he could have probably tried to impress a bit more if he had received the ball. Listen, I'm not blind even though I don't rate the players, I can see when they're actually putting in some effort. And Luke Ayling literally made himself an outlet 3 times that I can remember and didn't get the ball 1 time from Jack. It's not good, is it? And Nate saying, yeah, I mean, he's looked brilliant, hasn't he, Nate? He's looked brilliant in that Southampton team too. And the coach loves him for Germany. That's why he's in the squad now. That's why he's in the squad. I thought another one. I mean, we're speaking about our players here. Meslier for France. I know they wanted to try and get him in the under-21s one, but I'm quite surprised with the injury to the AC Milan goalkeeper that he probably wasn't next and that Areola went. Maybe that's just for another experienced goalkeeper there. But you would have thought if they rate Meslier that highly, they would have taken him with them just to get a feel of this World Cup and everything else like that. Thought Meslier was pretty unlucky because Areola has only played for West Ham in cup games and the Europa League last year, and he's played a couple of games this season. But Meslier's been a constant, hasn't he? So bit weird, bit weird. But listen, Lloris is their number 1, so it is what it is. Let's have a look. Gordon just saying we need a centre back, left back, and a striker. Yep, facts, and another midfielder too. Gordon, put that in there. Yeah, Jacob saying I think they would just want Meslier to get games, so they stick in the under-21s because he won't play for the senior team. Yeah, and Leeds rejected that. Leeds rejected that. They've rejected the call up, so he'll be here. He'll be staying with Leeds United throughout that month. Yeah, he did. Lafont missed out as well. Yeah, they got some good options in France, man. Really, really good options. But yeah, just in closing, it was a missed opportunity to go through, obviously, and get a pretty decent opponent in the next round, unless we got drawn against Man City or Liverpool, knowing our luck, that would have happened. But yeah, we move on. Maybe the FA Cup will be it, and we move on to that one and see where we go with that. Jammy Dodger, KG, what do you think about the Willie chant? I prefer the clean version. Well, okay, Jammy Dodger. This question has come up, and in all fairness, somebody on Twitter messaged me this question too, a 19-year-old as well. I'm not going to say his name because it's not really fair, and he's asking a question, but the fact that the question was asked, it kind of speaks volumes. I'm just going to keep this brief, but there's other things you can chant about when it comes to black players. It doesn't always have to be the stereotypical thing. Now, listen, I put it this way. If you guys see me at a game and there's 5 of you drinking, again, stereotyping, and you come up to me and start singing a song to me and then you mention my penis size, well, I'm going to be saying, yo, what's going on here? Why are you wondering about my junk? It's an old thing from days. And I tell you what, I'll put a link to an article in the description. But I'm not here to educate anybody. I'm not your parents. All I'll say is if you want to sing it, sing it. I don't care. But the fact is, I knew it would be sung when it comes to someone like Gnonto. It doesn't get sung to Tyler Adams because he's of lighter complexion. That's just how it is. That's in the training of conscious or unconscious bias. And listen, and if anyone thinks that this is hitting a bit too close to home or you don't like it, I've heard it before when I brought up about Cody Drama being called out for perceived attitude problems when he wanted to go out on loan, and people didn't like that. But I would just say chant something else. It's easy. What that song is, the first one, is it's lazy. That's all I'd say. It's lazy. So, but yeah, for me, Leeds United made a stance on it. They've put out what it should be. If people want to chant the other version, they will. It is what it is for me. I just don't care. I just don't care. I've gone things for me changed a lot after 2020. People, I got to be honest. Things for me in terms of things like this changed for me a lot. I just don't care. So it is what it is. JG saying, agree, KG. Think if the question is asked, don't chat anymore. Yeah, I mean, listen, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it should be, because it's just easy. When you sign a white player, do you ever speak about the size of his junk or anything else like that? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. But some people, I'm sure Carl 45 from Wakefield will say that there's nothing wrong with it, and that's cool. Just don't get involved with me. But what I will say though is that if you agree, if you think it's cool, and you leave a comment on this video saying that I'll sing it anyway, or there's nothing wrong with it, you won't be on this channel much longer. I will just block you, because I've given you the perspective for what it is from a black person. If you don't want to take that, that's fine. It really is fine with me. It really is fine. I love having people interact with me, but when I'm giving you something from a personal point of view, take it on board. If not, never mind, eh? Gabe saying, I'll say perpetuation mandingo stereotypes in the chant is ignorant at best. Our fan base is better than that, and we should behave as such. But it's not really, is it, Gabe? When you go to Leeds, games, and I'll say it here. Listen, when I've gone, I always remember the Southampton thing, where a guy behind me is doing the monkey chant to a Southampton player. I turn around and he goes, "Not to you, mate. You're one of us." And I'm like, and that's a game where I had my little sister with me, and thankfully my sister didn't hear, and I didn't bring it to her attention, because why would I? But it's things like that that you always have to look out for as a black fan going to games. You always have to be aware of your surroundings, and just think, if you guys don't have to do that, think that's pretty cool for you, isn't it? It's pretty cool for you. But yeah, I mean, Scooby here. I mean, Scooby, you're a long-term subscriber, so be careful. But it's a funny chat, nothing to do with race, but it is. Next, you'll be saying, "Oh, he can't sing because he eats spaghetti because he plays for Italy," and that's the thing as well. There's the Italian stereotypes at the start, but I'm not Italian, so I'm not going to speak for Italian people and whether they find that offensive. For me, it's not offensive. It's just lazy. Just do better. That's it. Just do better. I could give you so many stories of when I've traveled to games and heard chants from fellow Leeds fans about rather being a P than a T. And I'm not going to say the full things on here, but these are things that I hear as a traveling fan of my own club. But I guess I'm not supposed to remember that, or it's just banter, in it. Is what it is, people. Is what it is. But anyway, so that's my thing on that. Oh, and just lastly on that as well, by the way, because the question keeps asking if Gnonto doesn't mind, then we should sing it. Gnonto is a 19-year-old person coming into a new country, a new setting. He's probably going to have people that come up to him being of a white persuasion. Do you think he's going to say to him, "Actually, no, I don't like it"? He's just going to laugh along and say, "No, it's okay," if he's asked out in public. The problem is that he just doesn't want any trouble, or he just wants to fit in. That happens a lot to people. So just remember these kind of things, okay? That's all. But yes, let's go on to the Spurs game, because I'm going to say this about Spurs. I actually did have them to finish second, and I possibly still do if they upgrade in the January transfer window. But there is a way that we can beat them on Saturday, I should say. There is a way that we could beat them on Saturday. Now, listen, yesterday, Tottenham, they lost to Nottingham Forest in the Cup, so they're out. But if you look at their squad that they picked, their team they picked yesterday, Harry Kane was playing. Basuma, Højbjerg, Perisic, Dyer, who's a staple in their team. Longley was playing. A lot of their first team players were playing yesterday, and they still couldn't get the job done. The reason why I believe that we could get something against Spurs, and I say something, I believe we could beat Tottenham, is because our weaknesses, they don't play to those. They don't play to our weaknesses. They're not very fluid with the ball. They're very pedestrian. I mean, very, very pedestrian. They don't start playing until the second half for whatever reason. And as Ted says here, Spurs are there for the take without Salah and Richarlison. I think Richarlison's back, Ted, but again, he's just coming back from injury. They don't have Romero, who they rate highly. There's a lot of things in here where we can go there and take 3 points. Now, Conte yesterday was talking about Harry Kane. He's tired, but Conte is the one that plays him constantly, 90 minutes every single game. There is something to be got out there, and I think we can take advantage. And call me crazy. Call me crazy. I'm here. Call me crazy. But I do think that there is a chance that we can win. Now, Thomas is saying Kane's gonna do our defense. Tremendous. And there is that. Of course, they've got threats. They've got Bentancur, who's been really good for them this season. Højbjerg has been a powerhouse, but is he going to have enough in the tank on Saturday? Who else has been really good? It's quite difficult. It's quite difficult to say, actually. But this is what I'm talking about. I think that there is definitely a chance that we can get at them. And you think of our team, I think Somerville will be back in the start lineup. Somerville can cause their defense all kinds of problems. Craig here, if Emerson is starting for Spurs, he can definitely be got out. Absolutely. He's a weak link in their team. Absolutely is a weak link. And if Sessegnon is the one starting, he's got a lot of glaring weaknesses. Perisic doesn't always last the 90 minutes. There is definitely some weaknesses, but of course, here Tom saying the player who I was just going to mention here, Kulu looked good when he came on against Liverpool. He is their creator. He is their one that can give you magic out of nothing. So it's vitally important that if Pascal's playing on the left, which I don't see any reason why he won't be, he's got to stick with Kulusevski, because Kulusevski is a brilliant, brilliant player. Like, I really rate him highly. He looks really good. He doesn't have to be the quickest, but he's got high football IQ. But if we can minimize their threats, which I believe that we can. I know this sounds insane, doesn't it, for this Leeds United team? I just think that the way that they play, which is not very fluid, you think about fluid football teams, you think about Man City, you think about Arsenal, especially this season, they would move the ball and we probably can't get near them away home. Tottenham aren't like that at all. At all. Yeah, I mean, Darren here, they hardly create these days. They do. And if they do create, it's Harry Kane dropping back in and trying to set up an attack, and then he's not in the box to finish it off. There's ways to win this game. And I think that the momentum is on our side in the league anyway. Tottenham, Antonio Conte looks like he's under a bit of pressure. Even Spurs fans are expressions saying fossil football. The only one that doesn't go against it is Tobes, who's in love with Antonio Conte. Shout out to Tobes. But this is, honestly, I can definitely see us winning this game. And I feel crazy for saying it, but I've had this feeling since the Bournemouth win. Jamie Dodgers are saying, with this lead size at the moment, it's hard to predict. It's true. Liking that Gnonto and Somerville pairing, no, exactly. And if we can get them on the pitch against some of their pedestrian defenders, because a lot of their defense is very, very static. They're big guys, but they're not the quickest. So if we can get them up against Longley, or if even better, if Davison Sanchez could play, there's ways that we can do this. Mr. P, shout out to you, Mr. P. Our problems lie with us being unable to keep a clean sheet. It's true. It's true. I'm not saying that we're going to keep a clean sheet, by the way, Mr. P, but there's ways to do this. Jack, if Bamford plays, we know we won't score. Well, Jesse did say that Bamford could be back, so that's that. We'll see if he starts or if he's on the bench. Paul just asking, shout out to you, Paul. Would you play Harrison? Oh man, you know what? I wouldn't, Paul. I would actually drop him for Gnonto to start. I was thinking before, what was it, a couple of videos ago, saying, would we keep Gnonto as an impact sub or start him? I would start him and see what we've got with him from the start of the game. I think Harrison needs to hold the bench this weekend, Paul. I really do. And Scally Whiskey, shout out to you as well for your super thanks in the last video. I didn't do that at the start. My apologies. Watch along this weekend. No, not this weekend. I will be here live after the game, no, so please join me then. But no, I won't be doing a watch along. Yeah, Dale, I mean, it's a good point. Harrison isn't starting. That's why he played 90 yesterday. I mean, Dale, I think if he had done something that maybe he would have got into the starting lineup. But man, he hasn't showed anything to start on Saturday for me. But it wouldn't surprise me if he does start a game. It wouldn't surprise me. Rebecca KG, do you think Adams is the best player we have at the club? He's definitely up there, Rebecca. He's been our most consistent overall. I definitely believe that. I think he's definitely up there. When you talk about consistency in our team, especially for where we are in the league, I only think apart from the Everton game, I think that was probably his most average performance, but he's been brilliant in all the other games. So for me, he's definitely our most consistent player. I would say that. Noah saying, big up KG, bro. Do you think your style suits Spurs way because they've been good at comebacks and your defense isn't the best? I actually think that the way that they play is a good thing for us. I think it's a good thing for us because they don't move the ball back quickly. And if there's one thing our defense can't handle, it's intelligent, quick play. You know, unfortunately, that's just the way it is with the personnel we've got. So I think one game for Spurs this weekend. I do. I think they could probably do with somebody a little less like Leeds United, but we'll see. We'll see. No, that wasn't it. There was something else. Oh, Mr. P. Yep. Sorry for the super chat. Thank you, Mr. P. Time for Jackie to be rested from the start. Bamford on the bench. Llorente back home with Yelder replace him as an option. Yeah. I'm not. Let me just. Sorry, I just got distracted there. Time for Jackie to be rested. Bamford on the bench. Yeah, I would easily have Yelder over Llorente. I would. I think Yelder for me is a more assured. You know, he's not just a big lad, but he's good with his feet. He's good with his feet. So absolutely put Yelder in there ahead of him. Absolutely. Scooby, big shot. Start Greenwood over Rocker, way better. Interesting. But then Nate firing back. Rocker is good. Don't slay this man. Yeah, I didn't think Rocker was good in the last game, but overall, again, Rocker has been brilliant for us overall. KLM, I've got to respect you. Very articulate. I remember being in the Cup in 1970. Shout out to you. As a young black boy, Nuff said, love my club. Let's move on. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying, man. You love the club. You absolutely love the club. You can't help it. You can't help it. But, of course, let's move on, man. Let's move on. Thomas here, Cooper versus Kane. Dear God, yeah, I know, but does it have to be Liam Cooper? Could it be Yoda in there, Thomas? It's interesting, isn't it? I think we know it's going to be Cooper. I know, but I would actually put Yoda in there. Jacob saying, just hope Jesse sticks to using Greenwood, etc., as his first subs instead of Click Ailing and that lot. I think he will, Jacob. I think he's learnt his lesson. I think that was just purely for cup games. That's why it was pretty much a B team with a sprinkling of first team players. So I think he will be back to form again. And if Gnonto isn't starting, I think he'll be one of the first subs on. Let's have a look. Yeah, Nicky saying as well, Forest beat a pretty much full strength team last night. They did. That's what I'm saying. There is definitely ways of getting at them. There's definitely ways. Andrews is saying Gnonto is not Balotelli. Sing that to Balotelli, you'll find out exactly. Jamie Dodger saying good to have options after watching the game yesterday. It's going to be interesting in the future. I mean, yeah, Jamie, I would agree, but I think as well it also shows that our B team does need more work. This is again, Rebecca alluded to it earlier, but it's something I've been saying for time. We do need more established and better players in the squad. We can't just keep on relying on these youngsters to keep getting older. We just can't keep on relying on them to do that. So So yeah, for me, it's good that we do have a good sprinkle of youngsters, but let's get some established guys in there too. I'm not talking like 28, 29. I'm talking 24, 25 to help them out. You know what I mean? Get some established players in there. Because then you think about an established player being in the space that Click was next to JB. How much better would that be? But a better player than Mateus Click. It'd be even better, wouldn't it? So yeah, we'll see where we go with that with the future windows, and we'll move on to that with the 49ers talk in just a moment. But before I get there, let me get your score predictions now for the Spurs game. Let me know, and if you're watching the video after, give me your Spurs prediction for that in the comments. All over the place, people. My voice is absolutely messing with me today. Apologies. um, Yeah, the Don Revy, exactly. Defo Yoda is a modern day ball carrying centre back, same as Stroud can cut on occasion instead of after hoofing centre back. Exactly. Very few times will he played it back, by the way, Yoda. Very few times. German is saying 3-4-3 to Leeds. Now that would be a good game. Karen saying 2-1 Leeds. Jacob saying 3-2 Leeds. Chronicle 2-1 Leeds. Chris Richmond 2-1 Leeds. That is actually my prediction too. By the way, people, Robert's going for a clean sheet. I love that. 2-0 to Leeds. Rebecca saying 1-1 or 2-2, so going for a draw. Noah though saying 3-0 to Spurs. Fair enough. Gavin saying 3-1 because we can't keep clean sheets. Yeah. Yeah, I mean 2-1 is the score that I've had in my head, so I'm going to go with that one. And yeah, let's hope we can do it. Imagine what that win will do for us, just before we head off to the World Cup break. It will be magnificent, wouldn't it? Just before we get in, Mr. P's not getting anything yet. And yeah, Tom, I know. People very confident. I know what happens next. I know the script. I know. Let's change the script. Yeah, oh God, yeah. I said last week I had something coming, and unfortunately, it hasn't been able to happen this week. But it's definitely still happening. I just don't know when at this point. So just spend tight with me. I can't mention any details, obviously, just in case it never happens. But just hang tight with me, and when it does happen, obviously, I'll be letting you guys know first on the channel to know when it does events happen. It's just been busy. It's just been busy this week in terms of trying to get people on and everything else like that. But I tell you, that's been the beauty of doing videos by myself. I haven't had to chase anybody, and I've been chasing someone this week, and it's just delayed. But yeah. Mark Jones said 3-1 hell yes with a cagey watch along. I'm not doing a watch along for this one. I'm not doing a watch along. Hold on a minute. Right. Okay, hold on a minute. Okay, yeah. So just quickly as well, the 49ers have come back in. The 49ers news has come back. Let me just get the news report. So this 49ers thing just seems to come up every so often, doesn't it? Every few months we get word about the 49ers. But listen, this week, Martin Ziegler, I should say, and Matt Lawton, two pretty credible journalists have come out, was it yesterday? Yep. And said that the American shareholders who have links are gearing up for a full takeover of the club after securing the necessary funds. The investment vehicle 49ers Enterprises, blah, 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 have an option to buy out the majority shareholder, Andrea Radrizzani, in January 2024. US banking sources say there have been moves in recent weeks to secure the investment for a full takeover of the Premier League club, and it is understood that is now in place. Let me just get into the thing here. So what basically what it's saying is that the takeover will be in place at some point, whether it be in the summer or January 2024. Now, yeah, Seastone, hate that it's still over a year away. Feels like another season, hoping to do the bare minimum to stay up. And that's where I was, Seastone, with Radrizzani. As I said, if what he's doing is just doing the best that he can to keep us up, then I understand the moves that he's making in terms of not spending too much money, and then we go again in the summer with our new owners and everything else like that. But this news is when it is rumors, of course. Like Chronicle says here, it's just PR rehash of old news. I think I've read something like that before, but yeah, the takeover, it does seem to be something that we do need. And Dale, you've said exactly what I've. Dale just said here, securing funds, don't like the sound of that. That's what I thought when I read it. When I first read that and I said securing funds, it's like, so what have they done? Have they gone like on a whip round or something? Say, hey, have you got this? Have you got this? I'm gonna put in for a taxi or something. Like it doesn't sound promising. Anyway, when you're hearing owners take over clubs these days, it's like this big billionaire is going to take over and bankroll the club. You look at Todd Bowley at Chelsea as someone like that, and it's like, so what are we going to get here? The main thing for me as well with the 49ers is just that they invest in the team. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Fund it all with debt like Man U. Burnley also went through that as well, didn't they, with their new owners from America? It's this would be the ideal one. Darren Wong, can we sell it to Jeff Bezos? I wish. And Nate saying in America we never pay with something that is liquid, but and that's the thing, isn't it? It's like there's having to secure funds and banking, and for me that already feels like there's a ceiling there in terms of what we can spend. I don't know how anyone else feels like that. Let me know in the comments after the video is done. But I just wish that we had one, like not one, but a family of benefactors that would just come in and take this club where it could go. It's a gold mine. It's literally primed and ready for somebody to take us to that next level. And I don't see why no one's coming in for it. I really don't. Like someone securing bank funds for me doesn't sound great. I gotta be honest. I know it could be a lot of money, I know, but it's not gonna be enough. Does that make sense? We're in the Prem. So I'm looking at it with Premier League eyes, not just hoping to survive in the Prem eyes or trying to get promoted. I don't know, man. Let me get your thoughts here. Darren saying, like the Aston Villa owner, he's pumping lots of money, and he definitely is. He definitely is. Although I mean, he does put in a lot of money, Darren. But even when they sold Grealish, they had an outlay ready. They were ready for that, and they kind of spent that money already. Jacob saying the group is worth like 5 billion, but they're not going to have 400 million in cash just sitting around. Of course, yeah, of course. When you're worth something, it doesn't mean it's all money. It's assets, it's stocks, shares, everything else to do with the thing. Of course, it's not all just money. Um, let's see. German is saying, "KG, you see with your Lakers connections, if LeBron James is interested in buying Leeds, he's part owner of Liverpool. German." He's part of that group with Liverpool. It's sickening. It's sickening. Everyone's got a flaw, though, right? Everyone's got a flaw, even LeBron. But yeah. Zachary saying the 49ers teams are worth like 10 times of Leeds. Nate saying that 49ers are one of the best run organizations, arguably the most successful sports league in the world. I'm excited, way better than Raz in my eyes. Yeah, there's no doubt. I think they'll put more money in than Radrazani. I think Radrazani, to his credit, has taken us as far as he can. And I mean that with respect. I think that's why when we're saying we need this and we need that, Rajazani is like, I ain't got it. I ain't got it. Don't look at me. But I just hope that it's not just one of those where we're capped at a certain spending level. Obviously, every club is capped, but you know what I mean. Just we get a 25 million pound player for whatever reason, and then that's it, and we're done. Because at the moment we are in the sell to buy era. That's where we are right now. And listen, we're talking about deals that have worked out okay. Dan James going out and getting Gnonto worked out in the end, didn't it? So getting credit to or for getting that one over the line in the end, because it wasn't even a first choice, was it? But sometimes you got to look at things with hindsight as well, don't you? Bob's is saying, look where Newcastle are now, a year from their takeover. Imagine if we got that, and that's it. That's it. I mean, Newcastle are a huge team as well, huge fan base in Newcastle. That's a gold mine, and they're realizing that Leeds is the exact same thing. it just baffles me that no one's come in for us like a rich guy and said, "I'm going to put Leeds even further on the map." It's crazy for me. Um, uh, Darren, I don't know their approach is to make us a world class club in terms of management and facilities. Yeah, I mean, but having like top class players would be nicer too. you know, would be nicer. Mm. Chronicles just answering Nate here, just saying, Nate, 49ers are in a sports league that has no relegation, completely different form, and that suits owners. And that is a fair point as well, Nate. And that definitely has to be taken on board. Because I mean, listen, in I just speak for NHL alone, basketball, you're the worst team in the league. You get a prize at the end of it. You get the number one or top draft pick. You don't get that in here. You get relegated and sent to the doldrums. So yeah, it's definitely different in that sense. Yeah, Bob's world-class facilities with Click and Ailing on the pitch. Yeah, for me, it's about players. And that's another thing as well. And just quickly going back onto the cup exit, I want this club to start getting used to playing 2 games a week. Because right now we only play 1 game a week, so it should be easy to manage. But we need to start getting used to playing more games because eventually, and I hope everyone that's with me on this, in terms of European football, when we eventually get back into Europe again, that's what we'll have to do. We'll have to start playing 2 games a week again. And you want to get the players into that mindset. There's already players that came in the summer that are used to that have played in Champions League, Europa League. They're already used to it. It's about getting everyone used to it. And that's it for me as well. Just progressing in the cup allows you to get used to playing more games in the season. Karen with a super chat. Thank you so much, Karen. Big supporter of the channel. I'm saying rewarded for failure in North American sports, although my Leafs got Matthews, so I can't complain. Exactly, Tom. Matthews, Marner, all high draft picks, but because your team absolutely sucked. That's the difference of American and British sports. When you suck here, you get relegated. When you suck in America, you get the number 1 draft pick. It's crazy, isn't it? But there has to be a reward in losing kind of thing, isn't there? Although they try not to tank over there, or they don't actively say they're tanking, there's teams that definitely tank. they absolutely tank. Rebecca saying Kraken, Seattle Kraken terrible last year, got good picks this year and improved massively. Wish it was similar format in the Prem sometimes. Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen here, but I hear what you're saying. No, I don't think San Francisco would make this move without investing heavily to get into the top 6. They are not interested in mid-table. That's what I want to hear, Ted. Listen, mid-table in the Prem is cool. It's much better than mid-table in the Championship. I'll say that for a fact. But I want my team to compete again. I'm not saying this year, next year, but I want it soon. There's nothing wrong with wanting a bit of ambition for your club, is there? Well, at least not for me. There's nothing wrong with wanting your team to do better. And it's just the fact that we're Leeds United, man. We could be doing better with a bigger benefactor, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Let's have a look. Nate just saying one thing on that salary cap leagues, it shows how well management is. Everyone has the same cards, but tanking doesn't work out for a majority of the teams like Detroit Lions. Well, Nate, see, that's not exactly true, is it, Nate? And I tell you why it's not true, because I know for a fact in the NHL anyway, is that the salary cap is the salary cap. It's the same for everybody, but the tax is different in each state. So somebody getting paid, whatever, say 9 million a year in Florida will benefit more than getting paid 9 million a year in Canada, won't they? So there's that, like, what is it? Florida's a state-free tax or something like that. So there's definitely differences in the cap. I will say that for a fact. That's why Tampa Bay Lightning's team has been stacked. Oh man. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that kind of talk. It's good. It's good. State tax kills people. Seastone just saying, I think you can see that a little bit with American-owned teams just aiming for top 4 instead of titles. And listen, Liverpool fans will tell you the same. Actually, again, another link with Liverpool, which sucks. But their owners, FSG, actually own my Pittsburgh Penguins. But you can see that if Liverpool were a little bit more ambitious during this little run that they had up against Man City, maybe they would have secured a couple more titles. But the owners have probably been happy with coming second, getting into the Champions League, getting to the Champions League latter stages, because that's where the money is. So they haven't really had to invest anymore. But I'll leave that to Liverpool fans to worry about. Oh, Nate here is coming back, but that pre-tax is because there are assets and non-deductible here in America, like real estate, etc. Fair dues, fair dues, fair dues. I don't know the all ins and outs of it, Nate, but I just know that some players have preferred to sign over in certain tax-free states rather than another place in America or Canada. But yeah, I just don't know where we go with this 49ers thing. Like I say, at this point, it's just rumors. Nothing's happening. And even though they've mentioned 2024, January 24, best thing for me is that we get a new one in the summer. And this isn't a rads out kind of thing, not even close. But I just need somebody who can invest a bit more money into this team because we need it. We definitely need it. It's not even close. We need investment. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But guys, I'm going to leave it there and give my voice a little bit of a break. Unless there's anything else that's on the menu. What else? Is there anything else that I may have missed? Let me just check my notes. Let's have a look. Don't think there's anything else. No, nothing else to talk about here. Darren is I mean, listen, that's a factoid. The US dollar is strong now. Super strong. And Nate here again, just saying Leeds have the true commodity in the atmosphere. It's what makes you guys so great. Yeah, absolutely. Jacob is saying you're going to do a January wish list, KJ. I absolutely am. And also I want to know as well, because I think I want to do a few watch-alongs on the World Cup, but only if you guys are going to watch the World Cup, because otherwise there's no point me doing them. And I see that there's a day where USA play Iran and England play Wales. My leaning is to watch the USA game more because of Brendan Harrison and Tyler Adams rather than the England game. So we'll work it out as the time goes on, because obviously there is a gap after the Spurs game to the Man City game, quite a substantial one. So if watch-alongs are something that you want me to do for selected games that I can do, then please let me know in the comments too. All right. But yeah. Yeah, Darren, of course we're supporting USA. But listen, I'm gonna go now. Please hit a like on the video if you enjoyed it, or even if you haven't enjoyed it, just hit a like anyway. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and leave your score predictions and everything else discussed. And what I will say again, just on the Gnonto thing, keep it respectful, because if you're not bothered about interacting with myself or the channel again, you will be blocked. And it's as simple as that. I don't care how long you've been subscribed for. If there's anything disrespectful, you will be gone. Because as much as I love the interaction, I'm not about disrespect. So enjoy your weekend, people, and I'll see you after the Spurs game. Peace out.